There has been a lot of debate around vaccinations in this country. Some people argue that the heavy metals they're made of are very dangerous for the kids. Some others refer to thimerol as the chemical that is creating autism on the kids. Well, now the military and the research agency, they want to change the tune of vaccinations altogether. They're coming out with some technology that would allow the body to be the bioreactor that creates this vaccination. I'm talking about your body creating immunity, temporary immunity for some of the most deadly viruses out there, Nick. This research is really, really important because they're talking about finding, and this was inspired by two major diseases outbreaks that were out there. First, the H1N1 swine flu that happened because they did the fastest developed vaccination ever in history for the swine flu. Guess what? After crunching the numbers, they realized that only 1.5% of those administered the vaccination actually developed the antibodies necessary to get better. Oh. It was, for them, was mind-blowing. Now, they went to see into the data that was available for the Ebola crisis that we just had not too long ago. And out of one specific doctor that was able to defeat the disease, they were farming the antibodies out of his body to recreate the instructions of that antibody. So traditionally, how vaccination works is that they create one protein out of the outer edge of the virus, and they hope that your body catches it and produces the antibody. Now, what they're trying to find is the instructions of a successful antibody creation, and then just inject that into you.
Somebody who's already immune.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you're already immune, you donate your blood. They will harvest these antibodies, and they will give it to someone else, but they will be the instructions. So your body will immediately know what type of antibody to create. And a vaccination takes up to 9 months to be created. It has to be created on very specific conditions, like they use ovaries of mice to harvest these vaccinations. Now, in a human body, they will be able to create in 2 hours a vaccination that today takes 9 months to develop.
Wow, it's so funny that, you know, they go through to these great lengths to come up with these methods to fighting these diseases, yet the answer seems to be much more simple, if this does work, much more simple than we previously thought. But what I'm kind of thinking about is why is DARPA the one behind this? What does the military have to do here with anything?
Well, of course, DARPA is very interested in first responders, military personnel that go in to these areas where there's big spread out viruses like Ebola, and they are able to vaccinate the personnel. They will be immune. But here's the thing. Today, most of the work, and also another very important part of it that I don't want to left behind, is the idea of weaponized viruses in the future.
Okay.
Biotechnology applied to warfare, where some country or some terrorist organization weaponizes a virus. This technology will allow for a fast response, and then the next round of fighting, the next soldiers will be immune to this because they will be able to create it in 2 days tops for a whole big part of people. But skeptics are saying, well, hold your horses, this is not as easy as you're saying, because it takes a lot of antibodies to help one human because we're bigger. They've been very successful in small mammals, but now they have to scale it into, human scale production.
Right, so you got to start somewhere. I mean, we're still at the infancy stages of all this. This is just beginning. So basically, just to recap, you answered my question. So basically, the military's here because we can see the military potentially going in to these crisis zones, Ebola, for example, and they won't have to have all those thick suits that they used to have before, right? That's still got to be scary. I mean, as a soldier going in there, for example, I mean, even if I knew that I had the antibodies to fight this, that I was immune to it, it's still got to be scary.
I mean, I think that's one of the origins of the research is actually it was a family thing. It was the idea that family members are not allowed to touch those who have Ebola. Yeah. So in this case, they were thinking, how can we create a procedure where, first responders and family members can actually approach the sick ones and help them. And they came out with this. This is new. This is not new. This is a technique called vectored immunoprophylaxis, and it's mainly coding the instructions of creating a vaccine and injecting those into the body. Just a quick refresher. The way the antibodies are created is a very specific cell called the V cells, and these cells, they are naive when they are created. They don't know what they will be. Until they get in touch with a virus in the body, they transform in what they're supposed to be. So what they're trying to inject is a RNA sequence that is the instruction of the antibody, so we take out all the guesswork of the body. Because you might get this part of the virus or this part of the virus, and the antibody that you create is not as strong. They will find the strongest antibody and recreate the instructions for people to be administer this, and then they will be immune in a matter of 2 hours. The thing is that it won't be permanent. And that's why this might be successful, because they're not trying to create a permanent solution where you're always immune, like the research that has been done for HIV. Now they just want 3 months or 4 months or 6 months for someone to go do an operation. Very military, like the framework of it is very military, where we can go in, do a mission, and come out and be safe. But we want to know about your opinion on this issue. Let us know your thoughts below in the comment section. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the Lib TV.